Okay, we are back. Episode 2 of our Dolmenwood campaign. We are sans Matt tonight, unfortunately. He, just a case of extreme laziness and no good excuses whatsoever, has prevented him from joining us tonight. So, screw you, Matt, and you're never coming back. No,
this is actually a negative experience for him, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought so.
All right, let me bring up what our notes are here. So last time we basically spent our time in Prigwort, gallivanting around the clashed Antler and finding all sorts of rumors and leads and hooks and whatnot. And we only got through a few of them. There are a few tantalizing things that are still dangling out there. So it is right now. It is. What did I say, about 9 o'clock, 9:30 or something like that, I believe, on the 9th. Yeah, the 9th of Limewald. So we are in the depths of winter. It's deep freeze outside, hoarfrost, the whole 9 yards, so it's very, very cold. Now, you guys, if I remember correctly, had told me that you actually wanted to go suss out Bag Manor before you went to bed.
Yes.
Okay, so it is nighttime. It has been night, actually, for quite some time. At least, as far as the sun falling, so...
So Austache and that gang of no good nicks had come in and made a fuss.
Yes, and they are currently doing that, and that was sort of like your key to like, okay, it's time to go.
Yeah, I think rather than engage with that, we'll just go to Bag Manor and come back.
Yeah, because creeping around town in the middle of the night on a cold winter's evening is nothing bad can possibly happen with that. It's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, it can be totally fine.
It's fine. Can we just recap some of the rumors that we had heard? I remember that there is a missing child that is the daughter of the ruler of this area.
That's correct. Yep.
I didn't write down her name.
The liege lord is Lady Harrowmore, and that is who Halifax Swinney, Matt's character, actually serves, who's a knight under her service. Yeah, and her daughter, 6-year-old daughter Violet, has gone missing. The rumors, according to the laborers, were that they were is that she is being held for ransom by a camp of a brigging camp somewhere near the ruined abbeys of St. Cloud to the west. Along the Swinney Road, actually. No relationship to Halifax.
Which was famous because there was some crazy fight between a saint and a monster, and neither one of them ever appeared again. And then the abbey fell into ruins, and anyone who goes there doesn't come back.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep, 100%.
Yay!
Yep, well done. Yep, that was one. You guys remember any other ones?
Yes, we got Elthwit told us about the tale of Hedge Knight Sir Windlass and the Worm.
Kaiser Brythe.
Yes. Then some Brackenwald knights came in, and then the menacing little figure with his black robe nailed a parchment to the post.
Right.
Oh yeah, I have that parchment.
Yeah, and there's some mature, handsome women drinking dark stout and not enjoying it in the corner. Mm-hmm. We don't know what their deal is.
Yep.
And then we have the boisterous singing. And
yes, so there's a couple things that fall from those, right? So the strange little black clothed creature that posted the thing told you to go to Bag Manor because there was a note that said people in the arts of retrieval, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's one thing that sent you to Bag Manor. Then you also discovered that when you talked to the Ducal Knights, that the leader of them, Lady Bethmilda, had actually talked to Blino Jongle, the elderly innkeep, and had been directed to Bag Manor by him for some reason.
Right.
Now, you know that this, after talking to the knights, that it has something to do with the fact that the Duke has sent them out to hunt down a rogue prismist of the Imperial Institute of Physics and Sorcerers. Who was wanted for theft of ducal property and sedition. And her name was Marjoram Greiber. And the rumors are, according to the knights, is that she's been seen around here. Now, apparently, Blino has told Lady Bethmilda that if you want more information about that, you might want to go talk to someone at Bag Manor. But you're not really aware of who or what the nature of that is at all.
And the parchment was like, sorry, I know you just said this, but the parchment basically said, looking for experts in retrieval of lost items, right?
Yes, substantial reward. Inquire at Bag Manor. And then Austache as well. So Austache comes in with his gang of roustabouts, even though he seems to be a little bit older than the rest of them who are in their their late teens, early 20s, and he's like in his 30s. Obviously, thinks he's the hot shit. They start opening up the place. You find out that he is Blino and Sepestra's grand nephew.
Yes.
And they start making all these. They start bragging about how they're going to keep all like the strange people out of Prigwort and screw the goat folk and.
They're kind of xenophobic, right?
Yeah, apparently, yeah, and they don't seem to be doing much of any use except being annoying.
And so, then there's the mystery of the extra large garrison being built, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now you kind of you did get some information from people about the fact that it's related to something called the Nag Lord to the north, and the Nag Lord's forces encroaching southwards, and that Lady Harrimore feels that Prigwort, being a juicy morsel of conquest, might need a little bit more defense.
All right, let's go check out Bag Manor, man.
All right, cool. So
let's go get this
on our scarf
by skeletons thing out of the way.
You wrap yourselves up in your cold weather clothing, and you prepare for the blunt force after you leave the front door of the cold as it smacks you right in the face. Now remember that as you leave the Clashed Antler, this big building, multi-winged of black timber and all that kind of stuff, that you are actually outside the walls of Prigwort, right? The walls are directly in front of you, and you're very close to the Groaning Gate, it's called, which is the northern gate. But there's a substantial settlement that actually lies outside the wall itself. And so you do not need to enter back into town in order to approach Bag Manor, because Bag Manor actually lies outside the town as well to the east. So you can actually kind of wander through these sparsely kind of spaced dwellings that are outside the town proper and actually find your way to Bag Manor, which is probably the most direct route. It is very cold. It is nighttime. Your breath crystallizes in the air, and your facial hair immediately just crinkles and crackles. It just.
Thing I'm clean shaven.
That's right, except for Snell.
A good frost beard going.
So on your way, as you're traveling through here, you notice that along the northeastern perimeter. All right, so you're basically going from I don't know how you're seeing my finger, but I'm going to point in my cardinal direction. You're going from the north to the east, basically, right? Like the Clashed Antler is here outside of town, and then you're going to Bag Manor on the east.
Yes.
So there is actually the remnants of a crumbling brick wall that runs along the northeast perimeter of even these outskirts, right? So outside the wall, there's another crumbling brick wall that mirrors the course of the main town wall, basically, for about a quarter of the length. So basically, from the Clashed Antler to Bag Manor is this other crumbling brick wall, and you see that there's actually pieces of what appear to be like mirror glass that are actually affixed to this brick wall in places, but a lot of it's been torn off and reused and stuff like that. But it's very, very strange looking. It doesn't look sturdy, and it's completely ruined. Like none of it is any more than like maybe some pieces are waist height, but that's about it.
This is kind of fairy warding against the Fae or something.
Yeah, it's very strange. Like something was erected in order to increase the defenses against the forest or something like that, but failed miserably. Like the main wall is stone. This wall is like shoddy brick work, and it looks quite old. What were you going to say, Mike?
I was going to ask you: is this exterior wall that's fallen into ruin? Does it actually predate the existing wall, or was it something that was built and then abandoned by the current residents in the town?
Tough to say. But the wall's been around since time immemorial, like the main wall. So you have a feeling this is probably postdates the main wall.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the one thing you notice as you kind of travel through. Of course, the streets are basically deserted at this time of night with this kind of weather. And then looming up before you can kind of see it from a distance as you approach is a very large, roomy, thatch-roofed residence that has several rambling wings. It's obviously like a manor house, but it is surrounded. It doesn't have like its own grounds. It's sort of like amidst other town dwellings, and you see that it has like a main entrance, and it has a heraldry on it of the House Oberon, which is one of the 7 noble brewing houses. So you have heard, like in the Clashed Antler, that House Oberon is basically known as Prigwort's finest distillery. Now that's saying something because, as we all know, it's well known in general for the quality of its spirits. But Oberon is sort of like the elephant in the room. It's the one that everyone aspires to be. It is the oldest, the most prestigious, and its insignia is a mandrake root stirring a cauldron with a rod. Now, you have no idea that if House Oberon is actually based out of here, like if the actual business is run out of this manor, but this is one of their properties, as it is. And it's very grand.
Are they a brewery or a distillery?
They are both. But
okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So they make spirits of all sorts.
Yes, they do, yeah. And all very, very high quality, very
Do they
expensive.
make that belching beer we were drinking, the barrel blaster, or?
They don't make Barrel Blaster, no, that is not theirs.
Okay. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
don't know who makes Barrel Blaster, actually.
Too low rent for them.
It's a great branding. I want to talk to the guy who came up with that name.
Barrel Blaster. That'd be Gavin.
All right.
All right, I'm going to take out with that thought in mind, I'm going to take out my journal, which was my trinket, you'll recall, the notebook,
Yes.
in which anything that is written vanishes by sunrise. I'm going to say, to do. Remember not to drink Barrel Blaster. Ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to close it.
Make a note of that.
Exactly, yeah.
How
Yeah,
delicious.
Before I put it away, I'll say, isn't this lovely? This journal was given to me by a charming man on the road. Said it was just what I needed to keep above board on all of my tasks.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
I'm going to put it away.
Yeah. Of course, the handwriting it is like shaking because you had to take your gloves off to write it. You know.
I don't know why I had such a
Frozen.
educated accent there. I'm a hunter.
Yeah,
I need to find my voice still. All right, it'll take time.
Is your character even literate?
Probably not.
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, that makes it even better. Okay, hold on.
What's your intelligence? Now I want to know. I got to know.
You just have to draw pictures.
I have an 11 intelligence.
Oh, you're
What is the
literate,
threshold?
Yeah, you're literate.
I'm right there, but it's just barely, right?
I think
just barely. So
eight is like quasi-literate or something like
Something.
So maybe I'm writing and I'm like very slow about executing it. You know, very particular.
that. Yeah, wetting the tip on your
It's
tongue.
a little more efforted, than you would expect.
You guys are all just waiting there while he's writing in the book, and you're fucking freezing out. All right, so you see no one. Like there's no one there. There's no gate to go through. There is no guard or anything like that. It's just literally you can. And there's buildings all around. So it doesn't mean there's no eyes, but there's no one around. But
Is there a visible servant's entrance versus the front door?
Not readily apparent. Like the approach to the house basically shows like these two grand doors. There are many windows. There is light in some. Not actually in some of them. There is light. There's probably.
Out of curiosity.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Nope.
Did this cold weather bring any kind of snow with it?
No, it didn't actually. Nope.
Okay.
So we're not seeing like busy tracks to and from the front door.
That's what I was getting at too.
There.
Or even tracks peering around at the windows or anything like that.
Well, I should say that it hasn't recently snowed, but there is snow on the ground. But it's been well tamped down. There's no plows or anything like that, so it just sort of melts over time. But a lot of it becomes icy from being the pressure of feet and all that kind of stuff, and muddy. Yes, you do easily see, even without the hunter's expertise, you can see multiple footprints that approach the house. But
you anticipated my question.
Yeah, and you can't distinguish them at all. I mean, it's just a wreck of constant traffic. But that's the way it's been from your entire walk, because you basically took a main road that's on the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
You know?
Horseside Road, right?
No, it's not. It's just like a road in town. You know, I mean, it's not. I have to be clear that you're not technically in town. You're in this sort of outdoor, out wall expansion area.
Right.
I see.
So the note just said, seeking those skilled in the arts of retrieval, substantial pay, and quiet bag manor. That seems like a front door thing then, yeah?
I'm going to trot right up.
Yeah. But then you also have the lead that Lady Beth Milda also went here, and you don't know where she is right now. So.
Right.
Unless the cook needs us to find her parsnips.
In which case, we'll be rudely sent round, I'm sure. So if you guys are up for it, let's go knock, huh?
Yeah,
Did you say Rutabaga sent round?
I think
No.
What? I didn't hear that.
And in which case,
Well,
you'll be rudely.
Aelfric, correct, is already being affected by Fey magic, I think.
Well, don't forget, man. I'm hearing the whisperings of the dead in the woods.
Yes,
This is especially festive for me.
Still
You
happening.
and only you.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we should slink around quite so early. Just walk up. There's no reason to be incredibly suspicious.
It's like lion-headed knocker on the front door kind of thing.
Yeah,
or dragon.
basically. Yeah.
Was it the ghost of Marley that's talking?
So do you knock on the door?
Yes,
Yeah, I'll I've got my bright red cloak and my tall spear, and I'll just
Cool.
I stand behind him, John.
Okay, no problem. All right, so you wait like a pretty substantial amount of time, but you can hear something sort of scuffling along the floor and the inside, and then eventually a lock is heard, like, and the doors open up, and warmth barrels out for its first thing you notice, and you see like a lovely wooden hallway that kind of goes back. There is a small staircase that kind of goes upstairs. Like I said, it's more of like a rustic manor, like it's not like fucking Downton Abbey or something,
Right.
But you see, you're kind of looking straight ahead, and your eyes go down as you see that it's one of these black wreath servants that has opened the door. It has, it's very basically picture like a Jawa, but it's like the cowl is like over its head. It has a ruffed collar, right? That's completely black.
Cool.
Its hands are also clothed in black, and it just in the depths of its cowl, which seems unnaturally shadowed, is just like this beak of a nose, basically, that kind of comes out, right? And it sort of peers up at you, and you still don't see into the depths of its cowl, and it goes, "Yes, how may I help you?"
John, when you say are you describing literally a beak or just
like a beak like nose? Yeah,
like a goblin nose.
Yeah, picture like a Brian Froud type of character.
Yeah.
But all it is like the nose. Like Hoggle, like his nose is just all you see.
Yeah. Okay.
So, begging your pardon, but we saw the advertisement for someone skilled in the arts of retrieval. I believe you'll find that is us, and we've come to see about the employment.
Visiting hours are over. Please return in the morning.
Oh.
Now, as he says this, you see in the background, you see a tall, a relatively tall female figure in the background, sort of backlit by like a firelit room, putting on a large cloak. But it's basically like a silhouette because of the backlight. But you see someone like preparing to go back outside. You have a feeling.
I'm gonna kind of.
He starts to close the door.
Before he does, well, I'm not gonna stop him. I'm just gonna nudge forward a little bit and say, "One moment, friend. One moment."
Yes.
You said you sought someone skilled in tracking. Clearly, I have the silhouette of one such man. And the nighttime often is the best time to get started on such a retrieval.
The sooner the better.
I understand that it's late, but if there is a concern of time, I keep talking like I'm playing a wizard. Anyway, it's fine. Now might be the time.
You need to say stuff like, the trail goes
code. The trail goes code. But I'm not smart, so I was like, all right, well, the thing is... I don't know, we'll find it.
The consulting wizard.
That's my appeal. Yeah.
The consulting wizard only sees visitors from the hours of 10 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Good sir, may I ask the name of this consulting wizard?
He kind of cocks his head at you like, you don't know?
He says, it is the Lord Mostlemyre Drouge.
And as a wizard, John, do I know Lord Mostlemyre Drouge?
No, but you have heard that from your gossip in the Clashed Antler that Drouge, which is Drouge, is the family that runs House Oberon. So Oberon is very much like the brand name of the spirits, right? It's not a family name. It's like the name that they've given their company. But their last name is actually Drouge. And Mostlemyre is Mostlemyre.
Ted, you writing this down?
Yeah, I spelled it super wrong. Mostlemyre, okay.
Mostlemyre the Lord.
Mostlemyre Drouge. Right. All right. May we make an appointment for promptly at 10 in that case?
Of course. And who should we expect in the morning?
Oh, this is where we should have come up with a party name, you Muppets.
The Thunderclumps.
Listen,
The Thunderclumps are return.
and I blurt out as if I have no. The Thunderclumps, the brave and mighty Thunderclumps.
Okay, so he pulls from his voluminous sleeves. He actually pulls out like a ledger, just like it's like if we had an appointment, we'd be in the book. Can you name that movie? That's a movie called that.
Ferris Bueller.
No. Good guess.
It's not the Sausage King of Chicago.
No, that's a good guess though. Anyways, he pulls out his ledger and he pulls it open. He whips out like a pen and he writes it down. He goes, "Thunderclumps, 10 a.m."
That's not our name, but we'll see you at 10. And I shoot a dagger-like look at this dirty hobo that we picked up on the road.
He says, "Very well. Good evening, gentlemen."
And good evening to you.
As you see that the woman is kind of slowly walking down the hallway, and she makes eye contact with you guys, and you can see like there's a look of recognition. There's no judgment or anything like that. She just sort of like looks at you and is like, "Oh yeah, I remember you guys." And then the door closes.
All right.
She remembers us, but do we remember her? Who's that?
That's the Brienne of Tarth type woman.
Lady Beth Milda.
Oh, the one who's your boss.
The Ducal Knight.
Yeah, but Lady Beth Milda, prettier Brienne of Tarth, built for war, is how John described her.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's one that took intelligence as her highest score.
Yeah. They're seeking a seditious traitor named Marjoram, an elite wizard, a prismist, church-sanctioned.
Yeah.
Last seen around here not long ago. I'd stopped at Bag Manor.
That's what I told you guys.
Yeah.
Right? At the beginning.
We learned that. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Well, that didn't go how I expected, but that's okay.
Really?
I love it.
Exactly.
I love
exactly how I
That's
expected it
perfect.
to go.
Well, it's 9 o'clock at night.
No, it's
You were
perfect.
like, hire me.
In like medieval times. Like,
And Mike was ready to like stealth around back and get into
I've been up like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, medieval times they would have been in bed like 4 hours ago.
Yeah. Nobody was spending money on candles to like stay up late.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I mean, it just seems odd that they put up the ad and then we show up to answer the ad. It's 30 minutes later. They won't let us in. Whatever.
They
it's
expect
cool.
you. They expect you to keep respectable hours.
Not how we do things in drag, man.
No.
Boy.
All right.
Somebody wants a job in drag.
So what do you do? You return to the Clashed Antler and go to bed?
Yeah, I think I was gonna stay in the common room because I'm. Oh.
Yeah, so you guys had already. I assume that you guys have already marked off. We already discussed what the fees were and everything like that, right? And you guys are doing shared rooms. You're not going to take one of the little cottages in the beer garden.
No, I'm sharing a room with Swinney, and I think Mike and David both said they would sleep on the floor.
I remember that. Yep. Okay, so when you go back to the Clashed Antler, you make your way back, and you're like, all right, I guess we're waiting until morning. You see that I'd say probably about a half hour has passed or so that the common room it's a disaster right now. Austache and his gang have basically taken over the entire thing. All respectable people have left. There's only like the dregs of society plus this like the hangers-on that just kind of want to be around this sort of chaos, and Austache and his gang. And they have basically spread out over the entire common room. Sepestra and Blino are tired. They just want to go to bed. But they are obviously accommodating their grandnephew, who is just basically holding court at one of the larger tables. And there's just, there's beer spilled all over the place. It's just the broken bottles, and they're being loud and singing, and it's just, they're not causing any violence or anything like that, but they're basically sort of wrecking the place. And it doesn't look like Aelfric and Snell will be able to get any rest anytime soon. But Argus and Halifax can retire to their nice private room and get nice rest. So
here's an interesting conundrum, which is that I rolled this character up, right? And he's, not terribly strong, really low con. I decided he's, going to get along as a fighter by avoiding fights whenever possible. But my player inclination is now is a great time to smash a table with a mace and threaten this bozo, right? But Argus would never do that. So I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. Yeah,
that's what I'm going to do.
Well, like I said, like it's not like you can, like if you were the police, for instance, you wouldn't be able to go and like just find like a crime that's been committed, right? Like the guy and his gang are not causing a tavern brawl or anything like that. It's still operating hours for the place. Like the place should be open. It's just he's just one of those annoying fucking people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like you're going to be like, I want to go to bed, so get out of here. Or though maybe you are, but we'll see how that pans out. So what do you do?
Argus goes to bed and cleans his spear point and polishes his boots and.
Okay. We'll say that Halifax goes to bed with you, complaining a little bit of an upset stomach. He may have had a little bit too much Barrow Blaster, a little bit too much gas, and he may have to take the next day off.
All right.
Despite Lady Violet's predicament, the gas is just too bad.
He's pretty upset about that, but I don't think that's going to be where we go first.
All right. Well, now's the time to make that decision because he ain't here to gainsay you.
Well, if he's not there, dude, I'm gonna roll his ass onto the floor and I'm gonna sleep in his bed.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to do it. So, do you do anything to interfere, or would you like to just? You can also wait it out. You have a feeling that eventually they'll get tired and they'll pass out or go away.
I'd like to.
Oh, go ahead.
You first.
I'm just gonna find a corner next to a fire, pull my hat down over my face, lean my staff against me like this, and just go to sleep.
Okay, like in a corner, right? Cool.
Yep, with my purse on a string around my neck, under my robes, under my hands like that.
Cool. All right.
That saved my 5 gold, baby.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm checking my money now. I guess I'll do the same, although.
Oh no!
Here we go.
I'm gonna just walk up to the group real quick.
Oh no!
All right.
Yeah.
Just from some friendly banter, and I'll approach. What's the leader's name again?
Austache. So his name is spelled Austache.
Okay, it's AU, not O.
Yeah,
Eache.
Yeah, it's sort of like mustache, but it's Austache.
Almost got it right.
I'm gonna say it's mighty fine family you have here, Austache, if I overheard correctly. Brings to mind my old granddear, who
he looks blearily up at you. He's like, "What's that now?" Blino's the pester. Yeah, they're all right. Who are you now?
My name is Snell. But never mind that.
It's a stupid name.
It is. I blame my father. His name was Krell.
Krell.
All the names of the family.
That's ridiculous. Then his eyes get like really. Then his eyes narrow at you as he sort of wakes up a little bit, and he's like, "I recognize your voice. You ain't from around here, are you?"
No, that's what I was telling you, my friend. My granddear, she was a beet farmer. Used to make me pluck those beets day in, day out.
I'm
bored. Yeah. So this is my objective, or my plan. I want to tell the longest, most drab beet plucking story about my granddear to this guy.
Okay.
To try to be the most tone deaf, just like looming dull person that could possibly interact with him during his night. No aggression.
Right.
I'm not being rude.
Yeah.
I'm just being incredibly boring.
Right.
That's the objective. We don't have to roleplay that out.
Yeah, he's like instantly bored. He's like the moment you mention beet farming, he's like
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not the adventure.
What's the objective? You want him to sort of like.
I think I want him to get bored and decide to go home.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Okay. Let's see. Why don't you roll me a?
Boring.
Roll me a 2d6 and add your NPC reaction modifier to that.
You got to make sure that every time you like mention any detail. It takes you off on a totally useless tangent as well. You know.
Well,
Did I mention that this type of beat was, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's
I'm
like the
going-
forest there's
You're gonna
rutabaga.
I feel a little targeted because there's a little bit of art imitating life in that regard. But
Oh, please, for the video as well, please tell me if you're deciding to roll regular dice or owlbear dice, because I'll switch over to the owlbear screen if you're willing.
oh no, I got
Regular dice, that's fine.
D6s plus my modifier of 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I just rolled 10. Was that good?
10. Okay, cool. So he's like instantly bored, and he kind of nudges his fellows, like he tries to like get out of the conversation. He's like, yeah, so what are we gonna do about these long? And you're like, anyway, root vegetables is what I'm talking about.
They stay incredibly well in cold climates like this.
I say from my corner, I go, do you also farm carrots?
Carrots! I'd forgotten.
Okay, so he's bored with you, so he basically what he's going to do is he's basically going to shunt his attention away from you, but he doesn't want to deal with you, so he kind of nudges his fellows, and so you see that there's a particularly like rough-looking woman, like one that's obviously led a tough life for her very young life so far, but a very tough life, and she actually comes up to you and taps you on the shoulder behind you as you're in the middle of talking. And she kind of gets down real close to your ear, and her breath like reeks of like rotting teeth and bad beer. And she gets right in your ear, and she's just like, "You're gonna shut the fuck up right now." Like really coarse voice. Austache don't have time for this shite. She says it like quietly, like only you can hear it, but everyone sees her like whisper at you.
Sure. To which I will nod. So, rightly so.
She opens up her vest, and you can see that she's got like some blades. Like,
Sure. But okay, I'm gonna test the limit just a little bit.
all right.
I'm gonna say, of course, rightly so. And I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just gonna sit there and hang out. So I'm not leaving.
Okay,
I'm not leaving. I'm just gonna sit there and like look really enthusiastic about their conversation.
All right. Do you try to like inject yourself
With
into the
a
conversation?
stupid grin. No, I'm silent. I'm following her request.
Okay.
But I'm not removing my presence.
All right. Yeah. That's great. All right.
Thinking just an ear to ear, the dumbest grin you could possibly imagine on a person.
Okay. So it's a really weird thing. It's sort of like you're in like a club, and you're in the VIP booth where like the main guy is, right? And but you're not cool enough to be in that booth, so no one really knows who you are. So they decide to have this conversation, just pretend that you're not there, but everyone is sort of aware at the same time. So it's a little bit awkward. But they just start discussing like their current schemes, and it's basically, it doesn't seem like they're trying to. Redact anything because of your presence. They're being very open because they're very, very drunk, and they believe in their cause, frankly. So their idea is that they basically they're going to harass and try to run out any non-humans that they catch sight of in town, on the grounds that they are sure that any non-humans in Prigwort would obviously be servants of the Nag Lord, because the Nag Lord is an agent of chaos. This stands to reason.
Gotcha.
Now, when you hear this baseline argument, Snell, you're like, that's not half bad. Like like
Snell's not an educated guy.
The foundation of this argument is pretty solid, right? Like the Nag Lord, the rumors around him is that he attracts beings of chaos and evil and stuff like that. So there would be a natural tendency, if you should see someone that is not someone that you recognize in town, especially someone who's not obviously human, that maybe that's an agent of the Nag Lord. It could be a thing, right? But then it kind of gets into that super xenophobic, like, he starts to talk about, like, how, then he starts to roll in goat folk, but goat folk are actually known and recognized citizens of Dolmenwood, that whole thing, but he's obviously got something where he's going to run all those guys out, just because of the Crookhorn strain, which is known to serve the Nag Lord. And then he starts talking about people who, from Dreg, because no one likes people from And then we don't like all those hoity-toity citizens from Castle Brackenwold bringing in all their Doman shit into Dolmenwood. You know, so it just they start to extrapolate out like it's only like native-born Prigwort people who are going to be allowed in Prigwort. And it gets like super fucking awkward.
Yeah.
Now the entire time that girl is keeping quiet in the corner, and like you're on one side of the booth and she's on the other side of the booth with everybody cool in the middle, and she's just looking at you. Like watching, don't say anything. But yeah, that's the idea. And then eventually, as you're just sitting there, they pick up on your vibe that you're not going to lead, but that you're probably a little bit touched and like a little bit stupid. So your desired result happens. They get a little, they get a little bit awkward, a little bit too drunk, and then they're like, "All right, let's get out of here." Now, noticeably, what happens as you finally start to clear out is that they do nothing to help. Austache does nothing to command his people to help his poor, what would you call them? Great uncle?
Great aunt and uncle, yeah.
Great aunt and uncle clean up any of the trash that they've made. So they leave that scattered about, and you two are basically the only tenants in the common room. And as they bent back, tired, they start to bring
help.
out. Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna help too.
No. Of course, immediately when they leave, I'm gonna kind of like. Make a face and say, all right, well, let's clean up all of this. And I'm going to pull Alfie. I'm going to call you Alfie from now on.
Oh.
I hate it.
at two, Snell. At two.
Immediate name change.
I'm going to sort of pull him by his car and say, come on, let's clean up and help.
Yeah. I will gladly do so.
All right.
No.
They're very touched by it, and they thank you so much. And they apologize profusely for their great nephew's behavior. And Sepestra especially, she sort of tells you, she's like, all poor Austache needs is he needs to stop drinking so much. He's going to drink himself to death. And frankly, what he really needs, am I right, Blino? And Blino's just like, yeah. He needs a good, dependable woman. That's what he really needs. He needs to settle down.
Great aunts.
Or failing that, if some woman couldn't put up with him, which I understand it might be a big call, is just to find some sort of a strict employer to keep him out of trouble. Discipline is what that boy needs. Discipline.
But Sepestra, have you thought? Of course. Have you thought about watering his beers a bit?
Well, you shouldn't even mention that term here in Prigwort.
I'm not. But I understand. I do understand. You have a reputation to uphold. Maybe only his, just ever so slightly.
Blino kind of steps in and he's like, we have thought about it, but the problem is that all of us here are so attuned to the taste of beer spirits that we can instantly tell when something's watered down, and we wouldn't dare.
Sure.
That sounds like a real far-fetched thing, but you don't know. I mean, Prigwort's got some weird shit going on.
Maybe Aelfric can find a spell to convert a barrel blaster into an Aduls.
There, see, magical research. That's actually a really good point, David. Is that
that's true.
That's a key.
Oh, you should.
A key feature of magic users in this edition is magical research is one of their big abilities.
Can I make a petition? Can I make a petition, Mike? Although I was riffing a bit, in a community as steeped in brewing and beer as this, the ability to drink heavily and not be intoxicated would be incredibly advantageous in social encounters. So that may actually be a good spell idea, especially if we have a fighter who doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Neutralize alcohol.
I'm telling you, that'd be a really cool application.
Wine into water, like the opposite.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
Like
too.
Aelfric's
Yes.
alcoholic accumulator or something like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's
or like maybe something to immediately make someone throw up.
Epicat.
Howard Epicac.
Epicac, that's what it is. Yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing, dude. It'd be like that scene in Stand By Me where everyone just starts throwing up at the pie eating contest.
Yeah, dude.
I'll make a wand out of it. Awesome. All right,
Wand of Epicac, dude. It's awesome.
All right, so you help clean up. They tell you the story about Austache's sad situation, basically. You after cleaning up, you finally get to bed. I'd say it probably takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, actually. So you're getting a lot less sleep than good old Argus there, who is snoring. You can actually hear him snoring soundly behind. I've decided to make you a horrible snorer, Argus. I'm just putting that on you.
I think that works because he's got that. He's always stuffed up, and a runny nose.
Con
and,
5.
Got that deviated
Right.
septum.
Yeah, I was gonna say deviated.
Con
septum.
5, yeah. He's got
Yeah.
deviated septum like out the side of his head.
Yeah, for any viewers out there, Argus has a miserable a constitution of 5. So.
That's obviously the reason to pick fighter.
So, anyways, Argus is wearing what's that fucking thing called? That
CPAP.
CPAP. He's wearing a CPAP. Yeah.
I got a bronze, and I've got a little urchin with a
A buddy of mine has one, dude. It's like sleeping next to Darth Vader when he's like.
That's what Argus wears in his bed, so you can hear it in there. Plus, he's got the humidifier on high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you carry around various essential oils just to sort of like cure you of your ailments?
Yeah.
No, he's just got like a big old dirty handkerchief. He's always blowing his nose.
Oh god! Oh
Nasty.
no!
Never replaces
Oh,
it.
no.
That's so gross. Was it yellow
And it
silk to
goes,
begin
inside of his
with, or was it
right?
white silk?
Oh my god! All right, come on.
Moving on.
Anyways, cool. So yeah, you go to bed, and you wake up, and the two of you are feeling a little bit creaky backed because it is less than pleasant.
It's the 10th of Limewald.
Argus, you wake up well rested. So now it is 10 Limewald, and we need to roll for some weather. What's it going to be like today?
75 and sunny.
It's a D6. I can't remember.
Give me 1 second. I gotta find the weather here.
You're all
It's 2d6, please.
Yeah, all right.
I haven't gotten to roll a single die roll yet. Can I?
Oh,
can I
do it,
one?
please.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Do it.
yes.
All right, I'm gonna do my regular dice, dude. I got my
Yeah,
Maroon
dude.
Marauders.
Do it.
I just lost one. All right.
Well, that's a sign of things to come.
7. I got a 7.
7. Okay, that is perfectly average. So that's it's actually a good roll. It's the roll you wanted. It's clear and cold out. That's what it is. So it's nice and sunny, cold, but you have no wind. There's no frost or anything like that. It's a good day for it to. And I'll be nice and say that it's actually a tad bit warmer than normal. So a lot of the caked on snow will melt a lot today. So it's a good day. It's a good day for traveling, as far as many good days as you can have in wintertime for traveling.
Are there any like small creeks or tributaries of the river west of Prigwort that like run through the town or near it? I'm just looking for water, running water.
Yeah, you can easily find running water anywhere in the forest. It's never an issue.
But is it Jason? Well, go ahead.
Well, I just was wondering if you could put a map of Prigwort up on Owlbear.
I should have done that as preparation for tonight, but I promise I will have it for you next session.
Okay.
Yeah. But if there's anywhere you would like to go or have questions about services or something, just let me know and I'll let you know.
Yeah. David, looking at the map that we do have up, the hex map, it looks like, maybe a half a mile to a mile away there's a river.
And that's what I figured, but I was wondering if there's any sort of water source in town. What I'm trying to do is to wade out and bathe myself.
I'm sure there's a well, man. You can
in
probably
the icy cold water. I'm really going for like a Norwegian thing here, where everyone wakes up in the morning and this strange hunter is sort of like wandering out in his skivvies.
Well, there's no natural
Dump
running
some water on himself,
There's no natural running water in town.
Sure.
Right?
We're all just excited you're bathing.
You do know, though, that people actually tell you in the inn that there is a tavern, not an inn, that that hosts the only baths in town. Rudimentary though they are, it's a place called the Oaf in the Oast.
The Oaf in the Oast.
The Oaf in the Oast, and it's in near the western part of town, closer to the Abbey Gate. That's the gate that leads out to the Swinney Road that goes to the Abbey.
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys know what an Oast house is? Have you guys ever seen an Oast house? Yeah.
Was it like a sauna kind of thing?
You should Google image search it. Google image search it. It's actually an interesting shaped dwelling. It has like a warehouse, but then the main thing is where hops are dried, and so it has a conical top that allows the smoke to rise from that place. So this is actually it's a converted Oast house. So you hear
That's
that basically
very cool.
they store their beer and stuff like that in the warehouse, the long part of it, but then they actually have the common room that's actually squashed into that little turret area. So it's just a tavern. But apparently you hear that the Heged, who is the barkeep of the Oaf and the Oast, actually, his 2 barmaids actually provide services of bathing, like bathtubs in the basement.
Presumably they cost, though.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And Snell is not quite in a place of opulence, we'll say. So I think for now,
Yep.
I will not. But that's very good to know. I love that.
That is cool.
I don't know. I anytime there's an observance of like the mechanics of living, right?
Yeah.
In a world is very cool for me. So I like that it's a bathhouse.
Well, we're not in sauna country around here, apparently.
All right, so are you going to hang out till 10 a.m. and then hit up Mostlemyre,
Yeah, like
or do you
how-
want to explore the town, or what do you want to do?
How disreputable are we as far as filth?
You're not looking great. You've traveled on the road, and you have not taken a bath. So, but that said, the times are what they are, right? Like, not a lot of people are smelling great these days. But
Right. I'm going to go to the Oast house and see just how much that bath costs.
right on.
Sure.
Bath.
I'll go along. What the heck?
Well, I'll go along. Yeah,
All right, yeah.
I
So
can I can balk at the cost after.
feeling good after a night's sort of rest. Just nice to have a warm rest. That's what you all got. Is you got a warm rest.
Oh, we also got a continental breakfast at the inn, didn't we?
You had to stay in one of the little shacks. No
Oh,
continental for
said
you.
that the rooms came with breakfast.
Only the little shanties outside in the beer garden.
Well, how much is breakfast?
Well,
How much is breakfast?
Yeah, man. I gotta have me my oats.
You gotta eat.
Gotta eat.
also, we kind of helped them clean up the inn. They could slide us a little oatmeal. That'd be nice.
True. True.
Why don't you appeal?
All right, so let's see. Where's the food? Food, right. All right, so I'll say breakfast, some eggs or something like that, is going to cost you a silver.
Mhm.
1 silver. So it'll cost Argus a silver. They will give you that for free, both Snell and
That's fair.
Aelfric for helping.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Argus, you should be more helpful and less.
It's like a hard-boiled egg. That's what they give you, like with some salt. And they're like, breakfast.
Nice.
Enjoy. Protein.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, let's go visit the town and go get some baths.
So you head directly into town now. So you're going southwards and westwards. So you actually go through the town square again. The 10th of Limewald. Let me look up one quick thing. I'm really sorry. I just need to see what day of the week it is because it's actually important for you guys.
It's Haim. Today is Haim.
What is
There's
it?
nothing on the. It's Haim, and there's
Oh,
nothing
thank
on the.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Ted. That's actually that was the document I was looking for. Collie is the main one that I was looking for. Now, where am I?
Oh, 1 in 10 chance of a vague beginning.
That and also Collie is the Monday, by the way. So if we end up on Monday, that is market day. So I'll just say that you find this out from the citizens. Every Monday, every Collie is market day. So they like the vendors and peddlers will come into town and set up their stalls in the town square in front of the town hall, and that's where you're able to actually inquire and buy more rare or unique items, not magical, but like hounds, for instance, if you wanted like a cool dog, or jewelry or finery or something like that. Special weapons, things like that a normal smith wouldn't be able to have. You would.
Plasma rifle?
Yeah, you would.
Plasma rifle?
Like eating crossbows.
But just but more niche markets would open up on Collie, but that's only once a week.
Because you mentioned it, John, while we are wandering about town, I just want to keep my eye open for any stray dogs.
Stray dogs, okay.
Blunts, strays,
The eggs weren't enough.
street pups.
Yeah, you just ate.
Sure. I know that I'm totally down with the idea of you getting like a rundown mutt sort of thing for your dog. You should probably take a look at the varieties of hounds because not that you have to bite on this, but It's a rare campaign setting where they actually give you a full detailed rundown of like types of dogs that you can own, and they're pretty cool and interesting. But none of them are like mangy mutts. So if you're dead set on that, that's totally fine.
I mean, maybe one of them became a mangy mutt.
True.
After life.
True. Yes, that's true.
Maybe there's an elderly dog that no longer has their owner. Who knows?
We can roll on it.
Why do you want an old dog, dude?
It's his thing.
Just gonna hurl it at the ghouls when they charge us from the.
Well, you wouldn't have like this down on his luck smelly hunter who's got like a toy poodle, right, or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, I would play that.
Oh, we go, David.
I would 100% make it work.
Yeah.
I would put little plate mail on this toy poodle, and I would send them into battle.
Okay, so
yeah.
you make your way to the Oath and the Oast. So the Oath, converted Oast house. It is the exterior walls. You can tell were once painted in really bright primary colors, but like heavy coats of varnish, like many different coats, have basically washed that all out. And outside, now melted because of the nice clear sunny day, are a ton of like terracotta pots that are all fashioned as hog-like creatures, like they're pigs of various sizes, or like hog people sort of thing, but there's like a pig thing going on here. And they all are trailing like a riot of like dead vines and dead flowers because it's wintertime. The sign is a slack-jawed hunchback who is obliviously scratching his behind as fire kindles beneath his butt. Basically, that's the Oath in the Oast.
I'm gonna turn to Halifax, who and the
He's
the
sleeping it
narrator
off.
said- Oh, he's sleeping it off still. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
Turn to
gonna
me.
say it looks like you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see the resemblance. Thanks.
Argus, quite the image.
So you do. It's
All right.
it's pretty early in the morning. What time do you guys want to actually go over there? What time do you want to head out there?
I mean,
10 a.m. is
probably
when.
wake up. I'd say we probably wake up. I mean, it stays dark, right, until probably like 7:30.
Yeah.
So maybe
In the
we're
middle of February.
we're going to get a bath.
8. What did you say? 8:30 ish. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, we eat our oats.
Okay, cool. All right, so around that time, you do see that. So, like I said, there's like the long main part of the place, right? Like just like a long house, basically. The back end of that, like the opposite end of the turret common room. Okay, there are 2 large, basically like stable-like doors, like very large barn doors. Those are closed right now, but there is a wagon. Like an open-bedded wagon that has basically pulled up alongside those doors, and there is a man basically there, and he's basically by himself. That looks like he's like the driver of the wagon, and he is basically tending to the horses there. There's looks like he just sort of pulled up. There are like ruts in the ground, and he is pulled up there. That's the only person that you notice. The front doors of the Oast and the Oath in the Oast are open though, and you can go into the common room. And you see in the common room, it's much different than Clashed Antler, which is very rustic but very spacious, right? This is very close, right? Like if you looked at any of those Google images, you could see it's just like a very small round room, right? In the center of that is a arc-shaped mahogany bar that is directly underneath the roundel, which is the opening in the top, right? That is now, that roundel has been closed off. It's been modified so that it can be opened and closed at will, using like a mechanism so that it can let in air in the warmer months, that sort of thing, or lest all the fuss and fug like escape out of the place when it's pretty crowded. Right now, it's completely empty. Right, completely empty. You can see that there is one woman. She is middle-aged. She's a little overweight, and her bosoms are basically like falling out of like a dirty blouse that's been kind of corseted tight. But it's like very sort of like casual. Like it's not like she's, it's just, that's her work gear. She's doing her thing, and she's got an apron on, and she's with one like thick arm. She's like scrubbing down the mahogany, and just doing some work in the morning. Her hair is like all frizzed out. And she looks up and she goes, "Hello, gents. What can I do for you here? A little bit early for a drink."
Good morning, madam. Actually, we seek other services. We find ourselves on the road. as of yesterday, and spent the night at the what's the name of that inn again?
The Clashed Antler.
The Clashed Antler. And we understand that you have the best baths in all of Prigwort.
Ah, our reputation precedes us. Excellent. Well, of course we can accommodate that. We've got some free time. And she shouts over her shoulder down. So you see that there is only one. There's the main doors, and then there's one door that leads into the back part of the main warehouse, sort of thing. And she shouts down that, and she goes, "Blessy, we got some bath takers here." And Blessy, who basically is Gauda's, and she introduced herself as Gauda. Blessy is sort of like a dark-haired version of Gauda, basically. They're not sisters, but they basically have the same exact appearance as they kind of... Blessy kind of comes bleary-eyed out of the back room. And she says, "Oh, yeah, we'd be happy to accommodate. Let's see. Baz... Right. So technically, she goes, now technically, it's a 4-person minimum. Otherwise, it just ain't worth the effort to actually go and stoke the heat of the fires. But you're some good-looking gents, so we'll take it an exception. Yes, you won't. It's going to be 1 silver per person. Oh, no, I'm wrong. So, okay, so this is kind of interesting. So, it looks like Haggard's actually a little bit busy at the moment, and she kind of looks back over her shoulder towards the warehouse. This is Blessy. So normally, if you'd like it to be attended by Haggard, it'd be a silver a person. If you want it attended by one of us, and she kind of gives you a real like obvious wink. You know what I mean? She goes, "It's gonna cost you a gold crown each." Yes.
Do you use different soap?
It's just the amount of attention you get, gents. You see.
I'll take the silver.
Haggard's a bit busy at the moment, I'm afraid.
Does he use the special soap? No,
it's always fresh soap. It's quality stuff. Nice
So
hot steaming bath.
I'll tell you, I kind of lean in closer and go, "We have a 10 o'clock appointment with the head of House Oberon.
Is that right?
Do you think you have time, or Hagrid over there has time to get us in there and get us a little cleaned up before we have to go meet with one of the most powerful men in Prigwort?"
I'll ask him, but he's pretty busy. And she goes into the back room. And you see like this, and a couple minutes later, this guy comes back, barrel-chested, lantern-jawed guy, probably in his 40s, hairy forearms, big thatch of like matted blonde hair. And he basically has like a mouthful of broken teeth and a broken nose. Like this guy's rough looking. But he like swings, he's got this huge beer gut that he basically swings around like he wants everyone to know that that's his, he's very proud to have this beer gut. And he comes barreling through and he looks at you disapprovingly, you know what I mean? And he's like, "I ain't got time for this. I'm busy. You either pay the gold crown or you get the fuck out of my place."
I walk out.
Yeah.
All right. Farewell. Thank you for your assistance.
Argus will be kind of like,
God bless you. It's like, "Hey, you don't be rude. We can accommodate. We need the money." He's like,
maybe I'll be back. Okay.
He goes,
The guys.
5 silver a person then.
I'm okay, sir.
The door has closed. I've already left.
Thank you very much for your offer.
All right, so
We had heard that this was a fantastic bathhouse, and we were looking forward to relishing its waters. However, that price seems a fairly steep amount for gentlemen of our means.
you think I've got some other place to take a bath? Feel free. Otherwise, fuck off. And don't like people with airs in the Oath and the Oast. Now, as you see, God and Blessy are sort of like looking apologies at you, sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but they're not going to front with Haggard too much. Now, as you peer back behind Haggard's back, his right shoulder, as you look back down the hallway, you see 2 very rough-looking gentlemen that appear to be actually coming out of so you're basically like, you get a beeline and you're looking straight back through that door down the length of that warehouse. Okay, you see that on either side of that, now it's very dark, you're basically only seeing by what appears to be like a lantern light, which has been set on a table in the midst of this hallway. But on either side, you see that there's mounded are oak casks on their sides. Okay. But in the middle of the hallway appears to be a hatch in front of this table where there is a lantern. And you see that there are two gentlemen that are actually emerging from that hatch. And they're carrying casks over their shoulders. Like, not casks, cases, like wooden cases.
Like they're coming up from a cellar?
Yeah, like they're coming up from a cellar. Yeah, exactly. And they like, you just look at them and you can tell that these are not nice people. You can just tell, right? Yeah, so there's that.
Anyone else think that the boss's daughter is locked in the basement?
You mean Violet?
Hmm?
Violet, you mean?
Yeah, Violet. Locked in that basement. I'm going to really enjoy burning this place down. It's going to make me feel very happy.
You notice that God and Blessy are collecting in what seems to be stacked behind the bar itself, too. So they're pulling their beer from casks directly, like tapped into the kegs, into the casks. Yeah. But they're serving them in these glass steins that have actually been worked into the faces of rosy-cheeked barmaids. Okay? Now, you notice the first thing that you pick up on is that the steins themselves, rosy-cheeked barmaids, you notice that the two finely dressed women who had the two-headed eagle torque around their neck at the Clashed Antler, who did not look happy with what they were drinking, they were also drinking out of rosy-cheeked barmaid steins that looked out of place with the Clashed Antler. I didn't mention it at the time because it didn't seem anything that you would particularly notice, but now that you're putting two and two together, you're like, oh, that's a little weird.
I'm going to open up my journal and write rosy-cheeked steins.
Yep.
Is there a connection? Underline. I'm going to close it and put it in
you guys should write these notes. I mean, you write down whatever notes you want, but I'm just saying, don't expect Ted to just be your note taker and remind you of everything.
But he's so good at it.
I'm looking at your guys' cameras, and I see Ted got his head buried, and you guys are just like,
Yeah.
Well, I'm writing on an index card.
For 15 years of gaming, John.
Okay.
For 15 years, Ted has been taking our notes.
Poor Ted.
Well, would you prefer I use my mechanical? Would you prefer I use my mechanical keyboard? How would that be for the follow?
No, I'm just saying, just if you think you can remember, that's fine. But
no, I'm writing on index cards. No, I just was doing the bit because of the journal. I'm just gonna do the bit over and over again because of the journal. Be forewarned.
All right. Do you leave or do you hang around annoyingly for Heged to get mad at you?
No, F this place.
Yeah.
Next time I come here is when I'm gonna search his basement for the missing girl, and then burn the place down. Yeah, and burn it down.
I'm coming back at 5th level when I have Fireball, and it's gonna be awesome.
Do you want to do a quick circle around the establishment, Mike, just to see if there's another entrance to the cellar?
I mean, it's kind of broad daylight, and there's a giant.
We're just going to walk around. I'm not saying we should break in now. I'm just saying just to know, do a little reconnaissance. Sure. Do you want to just wander around?
Why not? If we can just walk around the streets around it, and I don't want to go creeping.
That's what I'm saying. No. Just like conspicuously walking around. Yeah, not like slinking.
Yeah. So as you walk out, you notice that around this time of day, because it is a relatively nice day, there's much more people outside, and they're starting to the day is starting to get going, and you can notice too that there's an air about the town that people are looking forward to actually start getting some business done, and because it's been a couple of brutal days. There were people being kind of shut inside, so everyone's kind of anxious to kind of get back into the spirit of things. So there's a general spirit of like good-hearted labor kind of going on as everyone kind of gets up and gets going. You do see, as you're kind of paying particular attention to the Oaf and the Oast, that around the back where that wagon is, that those two guys. One of them has dirty blonde hair that is constantly in his eyes. The other one has sort of like a dark, greasy black hair, rat face, and like unshaven. That they are loading casks into the wagon, which they then every time they load, not a cask, a case, wooden cases. Like if you picture like Prohibition, sort of like what they used to carry, that sort of stuff. They're loading these wooden cases into the back of the wagon, and they keep covering it with like a tarp every time they load it, and they go back in, and this is hoisted on. Each one has it on a shoulder. Or are they both carrying one together? They're probably carrying it like they're carrying like 2 or 3 at a time. you know, they're kind of, and they kind of load them up onto the cart.
So
the driver looks kind of bored, isn't really helping, and they're kind of grunting and sweating as they do this.
And when we see these cases, you know, is there any like, you know, markings on them, like the House of Oberon or something like that, or like, do we recognize them as like, oh, that's exactly the sort of size case you ship whiskey in, or well, that's actually how crossbows are shipped, you know, around here, or I don't know, like, because like when I'm thinking cases that come up out of a cellar that you're hiding, I'm thinking gun running, which is obviously not, but
right, yeah, and just to be clear too, there's no firearms in my version of the setting. So just,
okay, yeah.
But what you from your, you know, you're not that experienced in it, but what you assume that these are cases of, you know, what you would carry like glass bottles of liquor in, basically. That it's that sort of
flammable liquor.
Yeah.
Right.
And 1 second here, let me just find a thing.
And we're not aware of any like, you know, prohibition or anything like that. Obviously, it's Prigwort. There's a lot of beers and things here, but there must be like tariffs and taxes.
You would assume, yes.
That you know, maybe somebody would like to avoid, and they ship it.
So this is what you now. This, do not take my word as gospel. I'm going to say like this is how you as non-natives of Prigwort would kind of come into a town that has this reputation, would kind of assume. That assumption that you just made is absolutely correct. You would assume that there would be heavily taxed, that sort of thing, and that similar to Italian wineries and things like that, or French wineries, that they would it's very heavily regulated. Like you have to have like the exact kind of right stamp proving where it's from, what kind of ingredients it has, that whole thing. Like it's, you know, the house markings have to be on it with, you know, non replicable stamps and so that sort of thing, right? So heavily regulated. That's what you're assuming that a place with this sort of reputation would have to have. And the very few times in your life when you've actually sampled vintages from Prigwort, that's what you've noticed from bottles that you've sampled.
Right.
So when you look at these cases, and granted you're trying to do this relatively subtly and not kind of being in their face, the cases themselves do not appear to have any markings on them. They appear to be just wooden makeshift sort of, you know,
like nailed shut though, kind of thing, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'd say that's file for later, guys. That doesn't.
Where can we go and investigate where the excise office would be?
That would be the town hall. That's where the Council of Elevated Brewers meets, determines all their business arrangements, and then also runs the town. So they form a dual role of running both the economy and the politics, like the government of the town.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to take some pictures of that cart with my iPhone.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Well, with your high intelligence, that's what you're.
Do you want to draw on my journal? You want to do a quick sketch of my journal?
Yeah, I'll do a quick sketch of his. On his journal.
Strangely enough, Snell, in the morning, those notes you took at the Bag Manor have disappeared.
What notes? I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you being serious? Or are you joking? You're joking with me.
I'm being serious. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You took that's the whole point of the journal, right? Like they disappear in the morning.
I bring it out and I say, I got this great journal. This old man on the street, kindest soul you've ever met, reminded me of my granddear, who was, by the way, a beet farmer.
Yes.
Anyway, I digress. Hold on, I write something down like this, so I put it away.
John, am I still hearing the voices of the dead in the woods?
Yes, you are. Yep, it's a good point. I should be reminding you that more often, but yes, you are.
Believe me, I can't forget it. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, the voices of the dead.
Yeah. It would be like that. Yeah, I'm sure that numerous times in the middle of the night you probably were woken up by that.
Well, I think this is another great lead, but for now we should focus on. What time is it now? 9:00. We've been here half an hour since we got up. You said, or
yeah, we don't have to mark down every single minute. I'm just, you can just be like, okay, at 10 we go to Mostlemyre's.
Yeah, which I think that's what we can do now.
I still wouldn't mind. I kind of want to dump a bucket of water on my face just so I'm not caked in mud, but
there must be a well somewhere.
You
right?
can do that. There's
Yeah,
plenty.
for a
There's
while.
plenty of troughs outside, like numerous inns and stuff like that.
I'm gonna go to a trough and
Yeah.
just sort of disregarding it, that it's probably there's a lot of gross in that liquid. I'm gonna just sort of like in the 13th Warrior where they're all passing around.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
no,
exactly. I'm
That's so
gonna
good.
freshen up, you know. I'm gonna
Yeah.
and
Oh, we did that-
very
we did that
importantly,
in
I'm gonna
Vikings,
take out a
too.
razor and I'm gonna, or I guess my dagger, and shave my stubble.
Okay,
And
cool.
I'll be ready. Yeah.
You know what you could do is you could actually use some of those weird mirror glass shards that are in the outer wall when you get out towards the manor to do that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to find too much of a clear place to
I'll do that. I'll pocket one too.
Argus will just he'll have to shave as well because he just he keeps a mustache but not a full beard. So
Oh, okay.
he'll have to clean up the neck.
Is it handlebar, or do you just have like a
It's
proper-
long,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like biker bar, you know. It's,
Nice. There you go.
I am going to put a mirrored glass shard in my inventory. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you can just pick them off the wall. They don't explode or flash green.
They
mist
don't.
when-
No. You do see though that a couple of so you're basically shaving, right, and then you kind of pry off a piece. You do see like a couple people first of all notice that you're doing that, and they think it's rather weird. And,
Well.
And then when you actually take off the piece, a couple people, like a woman, actually gasps and she like clasps her, oh, like, and they're just like, that's not normal, like as they kind of see you do that. And you two, as you're also kind of bemused by Snell's behavior, hear a couple people actually whisper to each other. It's like, might be the Lord Bag in Hand returned. He's so odd. Strange behavior always around the old Bagwall.
Interesting.
Bag wall. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you hear numerous people as you're sort of walking by, kind of take notice of, even after the whole thing is done, and you're just all traveling towards Bag Manor. You do notice a couple people are continuing to stare at Snell, and you just hear the word Lord Bag in Hand is always sort of
Bag in hands. Gotcha.
Bag in Hand.
Okay.
Lord Bag in Hand.
That's funny. I didn't mean to provoke that, but I'm loving it.
And we overheard somebody say something like he was missing or he's returned.
Like
That
yeah,
might.
is
You said that. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Lord Bag in Hand he's like, oh, Lord Bag in Hand returned. It's so odd. Strange behavior. That sort of thing.
Bag
Yeah.
in hand. That's dirty. Sorry.
You would take it that way.
Keep your hands on your pants, bro. All right.
All right, so back at the manor. The manor is much less of a dire, intimidating looking thing in the pleasant light of day. It looks like a pleasant rustic country manor, although it is situated sort of in the midst of all these other buildings that are on the outside of town. I assume you just tell me at any point you don't do this, but you knock on the door again and inquire. Okay, so the Black Wreath servant, you can't quite tell if it's the same one you met, but it sure looks like it because there's not a lot of distinguishing features. But he opens the door again and he says, the Thunderclumps, I presume.
Nobody calls us that.
Kind of. Like, you know how some people kind of shift on the front of their toes a little bit, when they're sort of like at a party or something. I kind of go.
Yes. Yeah, nice. Love it. Yeah. All right. He goes,
Yes,
But we're here.
the consulting wizard will see you now. This way.
Thank you.
Thunderclaps ahead.
If I could walk that way, I wouldn't need the talcum powder.
and he turns away and starts to go down this hallway, this carpeted hallway, and you notice that you notice this from the other guy that was at the Clash Antler the other night too. He actually trails like a black robe, like it's not just like around his ankles. It's sort of like a bride. Like he's sort of got like a little trail that actually is like along the
He's
black.
got a train.
Like train. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you.
Can I accidentally step on it? Accidentally on purpose? Step on the train?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, you do. And you hear like a squawk, like as he kind of falls back, and he turns his head around. And it's still only the nose, but you could feel like And he's like,
Sorry, mate. I didn't mean to step on your dress.
Okay.
he chooses to ignore you. He ignores you. And he takes you into a study. In this study, it's an octagonal chamber. And it's lined with bookshelves and curio cabinets, basically the entire thing. And there is a large octagonal desk which sits in the center of a carmine rug. And the desk itself is actually stained with a dark, like hunter green. It's like a beautiful, you don't really know where they were able to get this sort of color to come out of the wood. And there is, sitting in a plush upholstered chair, behind the desk, which is facing 3 plain wooden chairs for clients, you presume, is none other than Mostlemyre Drouge, the consulting wizard. He gestures you in with a plump hand that is clad with bejeweled rings on every single finger, and gestures to the seats in front of you. He is a quite large, fat man, basically in his late 50s, smooth-shaven head, but he's wearing an octagonal orange skull cap that's sort of sitting on top of his head. So it's sort of like a fez, but it's octagonal. It's got like rigid 8 sides, and it's orange.
That's very cool.
And he's wearing a set of spectacles that are actually also octagonal, right? And they're prismatic. They're thick and they're prismatic. So you they sort of look like sunglasses, but you can see like that his eyes are like gigantic. They're like the guy from Office Space. You know what I mean? Like big eyes because they're magnified. And he's dressed in purple silks, like draped in purple silks. Now that might all look ridiculous, and it definitely does not fit the normal wear of what you've seen from people in Prigwort wearing. But the man, and Aelfric, you can pick this up the most because of your profession, exudes power. Just exudes it, like and for Snell and Argus, it's actually like off-putting. Like there's because it's not like power that you get from like charismatic power, like Lady Bethmilda. It's like something that you have not ever confronted before. And Aelfric knows it as arcane power, but you guys don't know how to place it. Therefore, it's deeply unsettling. Do you know what I mean? Like you just don't know how to place it. Just meta-wise, this is what it is.
Can I like survey the room for like just like, I mean, I'm not casting a spell. I'm not trying to detect magic, but just as one practitioner of the arts to another, I just want to survey the room and see what kind of stuff this guy is into. Are we going to see like the Necronomicon sitting on his coffee table? Is it like, that kind of stuff?
You actually have to suck back in some drool based upon the amount of arcane lore that you see on these shelves. Like there is languages you've never seen before. Do you know the Crooked Speech? Is that something that you took?
I speak Waldish and Sylvan.
Okay, yeah. So you would recognize it as the Crooked Speech, but not anything what it says, right? But there's like numerous books of that. So as far as you know, yeah, the Necronomicon certainly could be on this shelf. Now, as you're kind of as you're taking your seats and pleasantries are exchanged and all that sort of stuff, you do notice it because you particularly looked, which is very smart. There is as you're looking at the books, you see that two of these thick tomes actually part of their what appears to be their own will, like just like a little bit, and this different than the Black Wreath servants, but a long nose actually protrudes outwards, and these small imp-like eyes and sharp teeth sort of peer out from the books, and like these like long jointed claws just sort of like on either side of the book, and this thing kind of comes out and looks at you, and it goes and it smiles and it's all needles in its mouth, and it just goes and it closes back in again.
I kind of do that like evil eye protection thing. I'm like,
John, where did you say the doorman went? Did we see, or is he still in the room with us? Or?
He's not actually. Once he introduces you to the wizard, he closes the door discreetly behind you, and it's just you and the wizard now.
It's a strange question, but on the way to the wizard, were there any not to evoke Willy Wonka too much, were there any small doors or passageways or things looked as if they were designed for the size of the doorman?
No,
rather than the size of the wizard.
No, unfortunately, no, everything seems to be relatively human sized. There appear to. It's a typical, not typical. There's nothing typical about the house. It just it's a very sort of like a Harry Potter like dwelling, right?
I got you.
Like, it's got a lot of like
Yeah.
interesting passages and interesting nooks and stuff like that, but everything is relatively human shaped.
Yeah, everything's scaled
Yeah.
to our size.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. So he sits you down, and he says, "You have," and he's got like a sort of a drawling baritone, is sort of what his tone of voice is like. And he sits back, and he's got multiple rings on his fingers, and he's just sort of do. And he says he's looking at you, and he's sort of sizing you up, and he's, "So you have you are the first to respond to the note that I had my servants post at the Clashed Antler. It was, I believe, I posted at many of the inns. You have what it takes, I assume."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We do.
Excuse me, Great Master. What exactly are you looking for? And what exactly, before we answer that question, I feel like we need to have some more information.
Of
That's
course. So, what I am particularly after here, let me look in my notes, because there's many things I'm after here.
Hey, John, when we have a chance for a short break,
Yeah, I could use one
I
too.
don't know if you want to do like an official one or what, but
You need a break?
I could use one.
just whenever. I don't know if we want to do a
Yeah,
set
of
time
course.
or what.
Let us take a break before we negotiate with Mostlemyre Drouge. All right,
Okay.
we will come back later. Okay, and we're back after a bathroom break. Okay, so Mostlemyre Drouge sitting down. Yes, Ted.
Well, so because we were talking off camera a moment about like what kind of hooks we want to grab as players and where this campaign's going to go, and might be helpful for me if I don't know if Mike or David you've really thought about this, but like we were on the road a while, so I would guess that our characters have spoken. We kind of have some sense of what our goals are, right? So like Argus worked in a crappy town called Dreg. He hated his job and he hated what he was doing, and he wanted to get out and see things and make some real money, not just standing around for a couple of silver a day. He wanted to do something big.
Yeah.
Okay. So like for me, I'm thinking that this Drouge guy, this is the way to go, as opposed to finding out what was in the cellar under the Oast house, or like wizards. Man, he's got rings on his fingers. I'm impressed. I want to work for this guy. This looks good to me. I don't know what it is yet. Obviously, I might change my mind. But that's like how I'm thinking how Argus would be seeing this. So I don't know if you guys have given that any thought. Like maybe that would help us make decisions if you want to talk about it, or just we'll think about it later.
I'm happy to talk about from my perspective. Like, I'm picturing this is like kind of like a medieval or maybe even slightly pre-medieval like England type scenario. I mean, of course, I want to be a more powerful wizard, but really, I just want to find out where my next meal is coming. Like I just kind of feel like right now with 5 gold in my pocket, 1 spell in my head, I'm just kind of like, I need to find a place where I can get some income, live a better life, eat food that's not going to make me sick, sleep somewhere that's not on a dirty common room and floor. So I'm kind of like survival mode, Mike. Aelfric is just like,
But yeah, it's like but it's like short term versus long term goals.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
long-term goal is to be a powerful wizard and rule the world. Short-term goal is to eat something better than what last night's dinner was.
And I would go so far as to say that Snell doesn't have much in the way of long-term goals. I think in the current moment, Snell aligns with Aelfric in that, he doesn't really have any pretenses or large sort of ambitions. He's perfectly fine making enough money to feed himself and exploring around and sort of indulging,
Perfect. Yep. That is
that lifestyle.
all of what you guys said is perfect for obviously the OSR mindset.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
that's great.
So
Okay.
with that in mind, let's hear what Drouge has to say.
Yes. Okay. So Drouge tells you. He kind of taps his bejeweled fingers together, and he says, "I have here," and he points a finger down on the table, and he kind of brushes some papers away, and you see it exposes a rudimentary map that you can immediately tell has Prigwort at the center. "I have here a map to a ancient burial mound to the south, and he draws like one finger down, leading from Prigwort, basically about 12 miles down southwards, towards an area of the map known as Hag's Addle. A map to a burial mound, within which is a tomb. And in that tomb, there is a skeleton. And on that skeleton's hand, I have come to learn, is a bronze ring. And that bronze ring I greatly desire. Should you retrieve this bronze ring intact and bring it to me here, I shall reward you with a sum of 5,000 pieces of gold. Yes.
I actually let out
A handsome sum, but I greatly desire this ring. And he looks at you and he goes, let me curtail any question, the first question you may have, which is, why do I desire this ring? I will not answer that question. The question is answered by the 5,000 gold piece reward.
Yeah. No, my first question, and I had a boss I learned this from, which is the salary commensurate with danger?
The danger I cannot speak of. I have learned of the mound itself, as far as I am aware. It is simply a tomb for a knight of ages past. I do not know his name, but I do know that he has this ring. This ring, as I said, I have sought for many, many, many years, and I finally discovered its location, and I require someone young, adventurous, that type, specialized in the arts of retrieval, as my note said, to retrieve it for me. What say you? Judging by the looks of you, you've led a hard life. 5,000 pieces of gold divided between the three of you go a long way to alleviating that burden.
Heck yeah.
May I ask why your Lady Bethmilda is not retrieving this for you? She seems quite strong and capable.
He genuinely looks surprised. You know the Lady Bethmilda. Do you hail from Castle Brackenwold? You do not look like you do.
Colleague of ours is from thereabouts. Introduced us.
Well, her business with me is my own, of course, but I will tell you that she did not come here last night to inquire about the job offer that I am presenting to you. It's a different matter entirely.
See?
Have you hired anyone else to do this?
No, this is why
I say that out loud.
I have offered you a large sum because I like the looks of you, and your punctuality and willingness to be the very first to answer the call speaks volumes.
And will you be offering this to anyone else until we either succeed, fail, or die in the attempt?
No, I think not. Too many cooks in the kitchen, as they say.
Yep.
Okay.
I've a good feeling that you will return with this ring in quite a short amount of time, with very little risk to yourselves. Though who can say? The woods are dangerous, and there really is no easy path to where this mound is. You will have to venture out into the forest proper. Always a dangerous proposition, but you all look like you have had experience out in the wild, and I do not need to tell you these things.
Yeah, more experience than we really prefer, to be quite honest. Did you say it's down by Hag's Addle?
Yes, so that area of the map, and let me just get to it real quick, if you don't mind. What you're seeing
We have
there.
to cross the river then to get to it.
Yeah, if you can see it, it's labeled in blue, and it's actually a section of a tribute of the River Hamath that extends from Lake Longmere. That is actually like a twisty, windy swamp.
Oh, I see it. Oh, that's more than 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're looking, I don't know if the map might not be high res enough, but let me actually zoom in a little bit here for you guys.
It looks like it's a marsh on the southern shore of the river.
If you can zoom in, and I know the res decreases as you zoom in, but if you see that Prigwort is hex number 1105, 1106, I'm sorry, the the hex that the map points to is 1108, which is
612, like 18 miles away.
no,
right?
1108. So go just
That's 1008.
Oh, okay. So
Right
it's
there.
not actually in the Hagzaddle thing.
right,
Okay.
right here.
Gotcha.
So on the river or something, right?
No, it's not on the river. They're saying it's in the midst of the forest.
Okay. So between the river and Fog Lake, basically, or
Yes,
Pog
that's
Lake.
correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right. I am game for this. I like
Right.
the way this sounds.
I have unending patience. It is not required immediately. So if there is other business that you need to attend to, other ways that you perhaps would like to procure money or treasure, I will be here at Bag Manor. When you have the time or the inclination, please make your way. Take this map and make your way and retrieve the bronze ring for me.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, here we go. I'm just looking at the equipment list here. Begging your pardon, sir, but an undertaking of this sort, digging, getting into barrows, etc., etc. There's retrieval, and then there's, operational expenses. Is there any possibility of a modest advance for necessary supplies, shovels, pry bars, possibly chains, tackle, block and tackle, lifting of stones, heavy, etc., etc.
It is a reasonable request. I shall, yes, I will. And you see, he just sort of snaps his fingers, and there's no one in the room, but the doors immediately open, and one of the servants comes in. He's basically holding with his nose down. He's got a small little pouch, and he kind of waddles in and drops it on the thing. Ching, 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 and he goes, "This should suffice."
Yeah, very good. Well, then I'm your man. Sign me up.
Ah, excellent. Well, then, we shall consider it a contract. And I look forward to seeing what you are able to bring back to me. And now, if you don't mind, you say anything further, or do you take off?
The map. Can we borrow
Yeah,
the
the
map.
Yeah, he offers you the map, and he offers you the pouch.
Is it jangly like gold or clinky like silver?
It's got gold in it.
Oh, yes, sir. I like this deal already.
We just got our first experience points, boys.
All right, so I was gonna say, so we're fleeing town, right?
Yeah. So you're not gonna. I just want to double check. You're not saying anything more to Mostlemyre, right?
I mean,
I'm
I
just
would
gonna sum up.
I would love to inquire about the possibility of him looking for any apprentices.
Sure. Do you want to be? Are you trying to make it obvious that you're talking about yourself, or are you?
Yeah. I would just say I myself am a student of the arcane arts.
I giggle a little bit in the background.
Argus is like, you're what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that you are quite accomplished, Master, and I was interested in asking if you had any need for an apprentice.
He tells. He looks and he says, "Perhaps I could speak with you in private, if you don't mind, gentlemen."
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. As we walk out, I turn to Ted. I keep forgetting your character's name.
Argus.
Argus. Turn, and he says, "Yeah, he's really mastered gaseous cloud. It's quite the spell."
I wish I had a gadget cloud.
Yeah. So the two of them leave, and you're alone with with Mostlemyre, and he tells you that he goes, I will admit to you, as a fellow practitioner, that I myself was once like you, and I have a long and storied career as an adventuring wizard. Alas, the times and too many, and he pats his belly, too many of the riches of Prigwort have forced me to retire, although I'm quite happy here. But I do have a soft spot in my heart for adventurers, and please tell your friends that I have to keep up appearances, of course, but I am always willing to help out fellow adventurers should they require aid. In your case, it is very rare indeed that I see an adventuring wizard like myself come in within underneath the trees of Dolmenwood. Be careful if you have not aligned yourself with the Imperial Institute. There are many here, both in Prigwort and out in the wilds themselves, who would seek to do you harm, and not just in passing, but that will follow you to the ends of the earth in order to end you. I myself have been a victim of this many times, so always be on the lookout. Should you need training in the arcane arts, I would, for a fee, of course, be absolutely willing to help you out.
Great master, this is music to my ears. And though I have some experience with the Imperial Academy, and probably they're operate under their aegis, having someone so accomplished, so near at hand, would be a boon.
Absolutely, I would be glad to help, and always beware any kind of. You see his eyes glance down to your cross with the nails in it, and he says, "Piety is a virtue, but always be wary of the motives of the church. The church's motives and God's motives do not always align." And he kind of looks at you really carefully when he says that to make sure that you're registering what he says. And he says, perhaps you will take this quest that I have given you as a test of sorts to see if you are worthy of the knowledge that I can impart to you. So return with the ring, and we will talk further about how we may be able to enter into a partnership.
Okay. I don't say another word. I just bow deeply and get my ass out the door.
Nice. The last thing you see as you leave the door is you see that strange creature sort of silently laughing at you as behind some books as you close the door. Cool.
While he was doing that, I'm counting what's in the pouch.
Yes. Oh, so the pouch has 50 gold pieces in it.
Ooh, so how much XP do we all get?
Excuse me. The pouch, Argus. The pouch had 20 gold pieces in it. Am I correct?
Yeah. So it has 50 gold. If you, I will say, just on a meta level, if you'd rather that be 500 silver, that can be doable. Although it'd be, just remember that does mean more encumbrance.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, I've got the equipment list is going to burn through that if we have to buy some stuff like crowbars and stakes and mallets and things.
Yeah. What I do need to look at though is actually the carrying capacity. This stuff is
important. Time to get a mule.
Let's see, a pouch. Where is it? Belt pouch can. Oh, perfect. A belt pouch holds up to 50 coins. So a pouch is 50. So perfect. I called that exactly.
Yeah.
So
all right.
50 gold.
Do we want to get a donkey?
A donkey.
Let's see. Adventuring gear.
I don't know how much a donkey is.
Animals of burden.
Yeah, animals of burden is where
a mule, stubborn horse, donkey, crossbees. I don't know if it lists costs. Let's see.
But I'm thinking if we want I don't know if we need a block and tackle. We might to get into an old barrow. But a crowbar is that's 2 gold or 10 gold. Sorry.
So a mule is 30 gold, by the way.
Mule is 30, and it can carry 2,000.
Not a terrible idea to get a mule for our various adventures moving forward.
Maybe we could get a discount used mule.
We get a major mule, but again, keeping in mind that weight will translate to experience. Anything we can't carry back from this place to town for experience is potentially lost.
If you're looking at a load versus cost ratio too, the draft horse is actually a good bargain too, because the draft only costs 10 more. It's 40, but it carries 4,500, so it carries more than double.
Oh wow!
But that's like a
draft horse.
That's like a Clydesdale. That's like a big fuck off horse, right? That's not.
Yeah, and it eats a lot. We're gonna have to buy forage for it. We're gonna have to buy
it moves slower. It's an 18-mile. So you're always limited, regardless of dungeon or wilderness travel, by the slowest member of the party. And if the horse is the slowest member, that's what you're going at.
Right.
But you guys might not be. You guys actually might be slower than that. I think your plate mail wearers actually might be slower. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So there you go.
I like the idea of the draft horse, but that extra 10 gold. That's if we want a sledgehammer, we can have a crowbar or a sledgehammer. We can't have both, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Are they really that expensive?
Well, I'm using the Gavin Norman expanded equipment list prices that you sent.
Yeah.
And a crowbar is 10 gold, and a sledgehammer is 5 gold, and a spade is 2 gold. So we could do it with 20 gold. We could get some tools. And have a donkey to carry it, and then hopefully carry a bunch of stuff back. So
we also just need dumb stuff like torches, oil, lamps.
I've got some of that, but yeah, we might want more. So,
and I just want to bring up a quick plot reminder, just so you're aware, that Lady Bethmilda visited Mostlemyre Drouge on recommendation from Blino, right at the Clashed Antler. And whenever you inquired what the Ducal Knights were doing here, they told you about how they're on the hunt for the rogue prismist.
Yeah.
Right? And I just want to remind you of that, just in case you didn't make the division that, Bethmilda talked to Mostlemyre Drouge about that, probably, right?
Rogue caster.
And what what Mostlemyre has hired you to do does not appear to have any relation whatsoever with Marjoram Gryver, right? He wants this bronze ring from this burial tomb. She wants to hunt down this rogue prismist Marjoram Gryver, first edition and ducal theft. So you don't know. Is it related? You don't know. You know what I mean? When you inquired about what Bethmilda wanted, he kind of shut you down a little bit. But I just want to put that out there to kind of make a note about that.
Yeah. The other thing is too, is this guy is giving us a stake, right? But he also didn't put a time frame on this. Either are some other jobs that we can pick up that might add to our funds. Because, what's your name? Aggie? Augur?
Argus. Oh, my name, Argus.
To Argus's point, it's like, we're going to be going out there. We need rations, water skins. He says it's a tomb. That could be a small cave or it could be a complex, right? So it's like, I don't know.
All the more reason we need a pack animal. Well, we could use his Ford to get supplies for another job, make more money,
right?
Save a little just in case of an emergency, and then do his.
I like the fact that this guy didn't put a time limit on it, because it means that there's some other things we can explore in town before. Off into the woods.
And although, yes. One would presume that the rogue Prismus is a pressured scenario, so his lacking of any time limit on the bronze ring, I'm assuming, reifies the fact that they're not connected in any way. I don't know. Right. But I could be wrong. Well, we can seek out another quest. We can do this. We can use some of the money we got to brainstorm other ways of making money that don't relate to a quest. Literally, there's all sorts of odd jobs we can do. I don't know. What are you guys feeling? You feeling a bit of pause now about going to the tomb?
I don't know. I feel like we need to find a basement somewhere and kill some rats.
if we're actually that in much of need of stuff like rations, I don't think we can actually buy a donkey. And
I have 5 rations. I have 5 iron rations.
Yeah, I have a few days myself.
I only rolled 1, so.
All right, so maybe if we bought 1 set of rations, that would, we're gone a couple of days.
So
I can also hunt for food, but it'll be a full day.
Yeah, so let me give you the options basically as far as like survival, just so you can make informed decisions about what you want to buy. Rations are basically like the surefire way to always be able to eat, right? So if you want to, barring everything else, if you just want to stock up on rations, you're good to go. If you don't, the options that you have is that you can forage, you can hunt, or you can fish. If you hunt or fish, you have to spend the entire day doing it, and so you don't move anywhere. But then you can get it from the wild. Foraging you can do on the move, and you don't suffer any penalty to movement. But all of these things require like chance rolls, right? Like you may not succeed. If you do focused foraging, that is basically makes it more like hunting and fishing, where you don't move at all, but you have a much greater chance of finding anything. Now, because
I have an idea.
Oh,
sorry.
The last thing I wanted to say is like if you have a hunter or a friar in your party, they have much higher chances of succeeding at these things. Just so you're aware.
I have a thought.
My only point.
Feel free to shoot it down. Yeah.
My only point is that if we're spending a whole day doing one of these activities, the foraging thing sounds great, and it could be a great way to supplement like our existing rations. But once we're in the phase, and we know this from that Pathfinder game that we did, where we're spending a whole day in one hex just trying to survive, we've lost the initiative. We're not making any forward movement at that point, right? So I feel like having at least enough rations to get us there and back, and then supplement it with foraging makes sense.
Yeah.
But not relying on it, because
I agree.
That's smart. That's smart. Yeah.
I also have a wild idea. Sorry, go ahead, John.
No, please go ahead. You waited long enough. Go ahead.
Okay. Feel free to shoot it down, guys. Feel free to shoot it down. But I set this up earlier with the N. What's today, John? What day of the week?
Today. Ted, what'd you say?
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And market day is on Mondays.
Yeah. So
it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's 5 days away. Okay, maybe not. What I was going to say is... This is going to be more of a fast forward scenario, but I can hunt and fish. I have all of the gear. We could get a mule. We could hunt and fish for a few days, and on market day try to sell a bunch of goods to make income and to supplement our rations. I don't know if that's an insane idea. I don't know if it's something that we could haggle, but if we got 10 fish preserved in winter or whatever, 20 or whatever, right, over the course of a couple days, brought them to market and sold them for a profit. I don't know. Is that crazy? I don't know. I'm trying to be creative. Or a deer or something, right? Like
it's not crazy, dude. But it's not crazy. But I'm also thinking about the money that we're going to be spending at the inn and all the rest of that
every
stuff
night.
while we're doing that, right?
Well,
it can't possibly be profitable enough.
What's that?
It can't possibly be profitable enough. You'd have to sell so many fish to make
or deer or whatever,
than immediately going and getting this job done.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is there any other, and I hate to use the video game term, quest lines that we can accomplish that will either take less time or less resources, provide us enough of a bump in our income to make it worthwhile? Like, are there any
what we
other
have to discover? That's up for us to decide. John's not going to hand it to us.
No, obviously, but the only other one that immediately comes to mind is the locating of the 6-year-old Violet, right?
Yeah, but same issue there. That's time and distance.
Away.
And so on.
Which
One
is why
idea, we could go see what those mature, handsome women require. Maybe they need guards. We could beg the Brackenwald Knights to let us join them. Although I don't imagine that'll be terribly profitable.
There's also the default activity of the campaign, I just want to make clear, is exploration. So you can literally just venture out into the next hex and spend the time just searching the hex. So the way that the mechanics would work is similar to hunting or fishing, where you don't necessarily move anywhere. If you tell me that you're searching the hex rather than just traveling through it, it reduces your travel speed greatly, but it guarantees that you will find all the secrets within that hex. Now that's a huge gamble, because it could lead to treasure, it could lead to just finding cool things, or it could lead to
evisceration by cold.
Perfect.
Exactly.
We are in the hex of Prigwort. We do not know every dark corner of the hex of Prigwort. Why wouldn't we spend some time exploring this hex? Getting a real sense of the land. That'll also make us aware of what the water system is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. We might see what games on there. Even if we're not doing the market day thing, I can know if I'll be able to find a deer and shoot it if we're desperate, because we're getting a sense of the ecology, et cetera. I don't know. Right? Like, so, I think it's a good idea.
But to what purpose is what I'm getting at? Like,
because we might find a dungeon. I mean, who knows? That's the whole idea.
We know where one is. We have a map. We just walk to the barrow and we go down it. Like, now, if your plan is the 50 gold advance is not enough to do that job properly, let's go do this other thing and maybe make some money, and then we can afford a donkey and all the tools. Okay, that makes sense. But if you just want to go exploring, let's go to the barrow and kick the door down and get the ring.
I thought the whole I don't want to get lost in the here, but I thought the entire point was that we could not do that, therefore we need a short-term goal, and a short-term goal might be exploring this hex and seeing if anything comes up.
But here's why I like David's idea. Because if David is right, and we find 18,000 copper pieces, or 18,000 copper pieces in that dungeon, without having the pack annual, blah, 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 without having the pack animal, we're going to be like, let's take 400 copper each and go home. Hey, what does that equate out to? 4 XP. Kill me. I would have all the whole 18,000 back. And get my 180 XP or whatever it turns out to be. Math is not my strong point. But you know what I'm saying? It's like,
did you learn?
I'll say this. Sorry, go ahead, Ted.
We bury it. Once we know where it is.
Burying it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but then we got to go walk out to it again and then get eviscerated by skeletons.
Yeah. Here's what I'm also getting at.
They're hanging out. Go ahead, Dave.
All I would say is, on a meta level, my interest is also in having a better sense of the kind of curiosities and questions as players we should be looking into. And I think experiencing a gameplay loop like this might open our eyes to more ideas. You know what I mean?
I like it.
Or maybe not. I mean, it might be a total flop, but I think it expands our imagination of the possible, right?
We have enough money now where we can get that private cabin, so we don't have to worry about Austache coming in and wrecking shop. We can spend a day adventuring or like exploring the Prigwort thing. Maybe we'll come across a clue or something else that we can, will bump us a little bit. I don't know. I think it's worth the day to do it.
Let's do it.
Well, we got
nothing else going on today, so we should just go explore.
I've got a shopping list that's about 50 gold that assumes we do not buy a donkey, and it's like crowbar, sledgehammer, iron spikes.
But who's going to carry it, bro?
That's the whole issue. Where are you hoping?
What's your strength? I don't know what your strength is, but
you need a retainer now. Go find one of the Lost boys.
And a rope. I'm like,
we can carry all this. It's fine. But what I'm saying is like, I've got a sense of like, all right, I think this is what we need for this job. We've got 50 gold pieces. We can buy it. But if you guys really want the donkey, great. Let's locally explore, see if we can come up with another 30 gold, have some fun. Maybe we'll find another, a wizard lying around in the forest somewhere who needs help. I don't know. But okay.
Maybe we'll just find a donkey in the wilderness that needs a home.
That sounds awesome.
It could be Build a Pony. We're gonna go. Let's go.
I'm gonna domesticate a feral hog. I'm gonna put saddlebags on this hog, and I'm gonna shut you up for good.
I'm sure someone just left a donkey out in the woods for us to find.
Anyway,
let's go do that. All right, John. We're gonna spend the rest of the day exploring the hex.
You want to explore the Prigwort hex or the hex immediately to the south?
Let's do the Prigwort hex. Let's really know the area we're in. I'm telling you, it's just good to.
Okay. All right. So,
John's gonna be like, "That was a stupid idea." You find nothing.
okay, so so what I'm getting is you're not buying a mule. You're just going to kind of venture
Not
around.
yet.
We're just gonna explore the hex.
Okay. Which direction do you want to leave? Northwest, east, or south?
Let's go north and go counterclockwise. Does that make sense?
Yes, I love it.
Okay, so you basically you go back to the Clashed Antler, just kind of collect yourself and everything like that, and then you just basically head out. So you go into the beer garden and you exit out past what you've heard people whispering about when they saw Snell do his shaving is called the Bagwall, which are this ruined brick wall, and you head out into the deep forest. You are now, there's no roads or anything like that. So as you leave the town behind and you're off the road, the presence of the forest basically closes in all around you. And this is a forest in wintertime, right? So there's no leaves in the trees. Yeah, Ted?
Aelfric, before we came up with this amazing plan, did all of those voices of the dead in the forest go away, or are you still hearing them?
No, he still hears them. Yeah.
No, no. Absolutely. They went away. We're fine.
Yeah. Oh, I should have brought this up when you were meeting with Mostlemyre Drouge. There was one point when you were in the meeting and the voices, for whatever reason, were particularly loud or something like that. You basically, it hurt. Like you got a headache about it. And so like you sort of winced. You noticed that Mostlemyre at the same time did the exact same thing.
Oh.
And I didn't ask him about it?
Yeah, I should have brought it up.
Retcon, John. Retcon.
Yeah. So he does the same thing. So you go out the turret gate, I think is what it was called. The groaning gate. The groaning gate.
Okay.
Why is it called the groaning gate? A squat stone gate topped with a covered wooden lookout post, which is painted with the image of a sea serpent. That's what you leave out of. And you head out along the Harrow Road. So the northern road basically will lead you directly to, after some time, to Harrowmore Keep upon the high cliffs overlooking the Groaning Loch. But you're not going into that one. So you quickly diverge and you start to make your way northern and eastern as you start to make your way in a circle around the hex. The forest itself is sort of like a tangled forest, no leaves in the trees. There is a undergrowth basically of a lot of ferns and moss, which basically keeps a lot of the snow off the ground and allows it to melt quickly. So it's not easy going, but you do actually move a little bit slower because you are not on a road. So you are in tangled forest.
We are beating the bushes for spare change.
Yeah. Okay, so. All right.
The great couch of Dolmenwood. Digging around between the cushions.
Indeed.
Hoping to find a donkey.
This is the first time I've done this procedure, so just give me a moment if you don't mind.
No worries.
Roll some dice. Okay. A little bit of this action. Okay, yeah, so let's see. Right. Okay. So yeah. So you basically you're trudging through the forest. It becomes a little bit tedious. You don't seem to see anything particularly of note as you're moving around this hex. There is the weight of the moans continue no matter where you are in the hex, Aelfric. You do see small game every once in a while kind of burst forth. That sort of thing, but unless you're like actively hunting for larger game, you're not going to find it because you're not being particularly stealthy or anything like that. So
Sure.
Any large game just basically is, you're assuming is just staying well clear of you guys.
Gotcha.
You also see no sign of human presence or anything like that because you are off roads. So unfortunately, I know you desire adventure and to find something cool, but in this hex, it's nothing but wild basically. So it's just
Quite all right.
a lot of deciduous trees, so it's basically like a lot of bare trees. But it's so thick that even without leaves, it obscures the sky a lot. Although it is a clear day, so it is rather sunny. Not a lot of coniferous trees around here, so there's not a lot of cover.
What is the character of the river? Is it fishable? Is it deep? Is it fast? Is it slow? Rocky?
That creek, basically, that runs down. It's well, I'm going to be honest with you. This map, as I said, is actually unreliable. And it's partially unreliable because it's a much older map than the current version of Dolmenwood. In the current version of Dolmenwood, Gavin realized that rivers don't actually flow in that manner, according to the geography that he set down. So he actually removed it from the map.
Gotcha. Got word.
Yeah. So
it's a ghost river. That's where all those screams are coming from.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to bring it up until you actually decided to interact with the map, with the river or the road, but you did. So
for sure. No worries.
You're going to have to take my word for it that on the modern map, which I can't show you because it has all the secrets of the map revealed, that road and that river does not exist. There is no connector between Prigwort and the woodcutters' encampment.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so yeah. So
the road to the old abbey is still there.
The road to the abbey is there. Like all the other roads that are in the general Prigwort area are there, but that particular one that leads southwards does not exist.
Okay.
And so you're going to have to kind of imagine that it's not there, and I apologize for that. But
okay, man, we're not mad.
Yeah, whatever. But
we have an unreliable map. That's very realistic.
Listen, man, finding nothing means one more escape from death.
Right, there you go. Yeah. I will say though, if you're there, you are in a forest though. A forest, the entire campaign takes place in a forest. So there, if you're ever looking for fresh water for like camp or something like that, it is always available. Like there's never an issue like where you're not going to be able to wash your face or get water for drinking potable water, that sort of thing. That will always be a thing.
So we can safely fill our water skins with wine.
Yes. Oh yeah. Wine, no, but once you get that spell working, no problem.
All right. Well, guys, I don't feel bad about that at all. I don't consider that too much of a waste of time.
That was very helpful for me.
Hex 1106.
1105 is the Prigwort hex.
Oh, it's just blurry, I guess.
Yeah, Look at the other hexes above and below, which is the numerical order.
Wait, no, hold on.
Oh, our
1106.
1106.
You're right. You're 1106. Yeah.
Okay.
I apologize. Yeah.
Okay. So that was.
Yeah. So as you travel around, you can see that the Horseye Road. You come across the Horseye Road, which is the road that you traveled in on, and the Swinny Road, which leads west towards the Abbey. But the Creek Road does not exist.
Okay.
And the Harrow Road is the northern road that goes to Harrowmore Keep.
Does Fog Lake exist?
Fog Lake exists, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Everything else, barring like maybe some slight scale differences, exists in this general area.
So it's a full day to clear that hex, so basically, right?
Yeah. So, but basically, what that did is the terrain reduces your, because it's a tangled forest basically, and your off road reduces your who is the slowest member? That would probably be Ted, right? Ted, what is your miles per day?
Overland is 12.
Okay, so this is a good time to kind of go over the wilderness mechanic, right? So you can go 12 miles a day. That's like unimpeded, weather's great, that whole thing, right? So that's the baseline, 12 per day, assuming you're staying with Ted. Tangled forest, then if you are on a road, there's no modifier to that. Right, so a road would get you 12 miles a day. If you're off-road, which you guys are, it would reduce it by 33%. Right, so a third down, which means that drops you down to what, 8, right? Am I right? Yeah, 8.
Yeah.
So it'd be 8 miles a day. Sorry.
Well, this is a little bit of a retcon, but I could easily leave my armor with Swinny back at the.
No, it's a good time to explain this, just because there is no consequences to this day because you didn't find anything.
Great.
So yeah.
Cool.
If you're searching a hex, it reduces the amount of miles that you can travel that day, and that depends on the difficulty of the terrain. The tangled forest is moderate terrain, so it actually reduces the the amount of miles you can travel to 8 miles. But that's sort of like a cap. Like you basically can't go any further than 8 miles, regardless of what your adjusted movement rate is, right? So that's a wash because Ted's already reduced it to 8 just because you're off road and you're traveling with Ted.
Right.
The same thing would be with Halifax, by the way. He's also wearing plate. So
Yeah.
Hey, John.
yeah. There's also there's also visibility. So if, for instance, if we rolled on the weather table and it wasn't a clear day, you could have like freezing rain or frigid mist or deep, snowstorm, that sort of stuff that reduces visibility. That then increases your chance of getting lost, which is another good reason to have a hunter in the party. So,
Quick question.
I'm not going to roll for getting lost in this hex, though. Yes, go ahead.
Just it's kind of fluff, but being a hunter, being familiar with woods, land, etc. Not like actively investigating, but like wandering around in this hex. Is there anything peculiar that I would have noticed about the trees or anything like that? That I don't know, like growth or strange formations, etc., etc. Or does everything seem mostly normal?
No, everything seems mostly normal. I will point out, though, that when you look at the map that Mostlemyre Drouge gave you about the location of the burial mound, that the obviously he hasn't marked them out in hexes, but the general area where the burial mound is supposedly in hex 1108. Okay, that's 2 hexes to the south, and in that one there is actually there's a mark that says burial mound. And you see that's in a section of the wood that whoever, if it was him or wherever he got the map, he didn't ask about that, it has been labeled as the looping wood. And looping as in loop garou, not like a loop-de-loop. So L-O-U-P.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah.
No.
I just bring that up because you were questioning about strange trees sort of thing. So that recalled to your mind that that particular map actually does describe it as the looping wood, that general area.
Well,
we need to find somebody who knows the legends of the forest.
That Aelfric guy probably would be a good source. He had all sorts of stories, even if he was drunk.
And then the other thing I was wondering too is, having spent the day exploring this hex. Oh wow! I just totally had a brain fart. Never mind. Skip me. Keep going.
Well, let's say this because we're about to end. You spend the day exploring the wood. You kind of get a feel for the general area. You see the kind of game that is out there and what's available. So you can basically say that the Prigwort hex is sort of like a safe hex, right? What is revealed in the Prigwort hex is Prigwort, right? It's home base. So if you can get back to that hex, if you can get back to home base, that's where you get XP. You bring your ship back to that, to here.
Okay.
That's what it basically yields. So, well, you have to be clear, you do have to bring it back to Prigwort, not just cross the boundaries. But I assume that you spend the whole day doing this, so why don't we, at the end of the session here, mark off another round of expenses for food and lodging? Do you guys want to do the same exact thing that you did before?
I think I might want to up my game here now that we have a little bit of cash and spend the extra money to get a room.
Do you want one of the little shanties outside?
Yeah, we can all fit in it, right?
Because we can all fit in that, right?
Yeah, it fits 6, and it is 1 gold per night.
Let's do it.
Good. Let's find 2 more guys and charge them 3 silver each.
You read my mind. You read my mind. I was like, can we please hustle someone to take the other beds?
Do you actually want to share your room with strangers?
I would 100% hustle. I mean, we don't have to. I think it's a funny idea, though. But
I get the point, but Argus is Come on, guys. That's like how you get picked. I mean, you never been to drag? This is how people get pickpocketed, man. Don't ever do that.
Don't tantalize me like that, man.
That's good story, baby. That's good story.
Yeah.
Well, for now, we'll just assume that
right.
you pay the gold.
All right.
You can
All
devise that scheme later, but for now,
We get a hard-boiled egg in the morning. That's
all right.
sweet.
So, who's keeping track of the party? I'm assuming the party treasure now consists of 50 gold,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, who is going to be the treasurer of party gold?
I got
Okay.
it. Yeah.
All right. So we're down to 49, right? All right.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make a new section in my doc here. Okay.
Okay. And food. What would you like to do? Would you want to like food? A main dish is 3 silver per person,
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
or you can eat a ration if you want a ration. That's
Nope.
Yeah. Let's buy dinner out of the party funds as well. So
Party
that's
funds? Okay.
Okay, roll me a d8 just real quick, and we'll get a little flavor for the food before we quit.
all right. How about 4?
A 4, Puggle pie.
All right.
Yes, so this is you get puggle flesh and mushroom gravy in flaky pastry. So puggles are actually miniature fungivorous dogs that live in Dolmenwood.
Fungivorous.
Yes,
3 silver pieces per person.
3. Yeah, they're not domesticated, but they are wild feral dogs. But it is dog flesh. But it is what it is, baby.
It's like mushroom dog flesh.
Yeah.
Do we have any hallucinatory effects from eating this pie?
No. It's pretty tasty.
Oh,
Puggle flesh and mushroom gravy.
When you're done with describing the fungus dogs,
I'm
I
done.
remember what I was going to ask
They're
when I had my
fungivorous.
brain fart
Yes.
while we were wandering around in the woods. Did I have any kind of other reaction to the whispering of the dead in the woods?
No, as I did say that actually in the hex itself, that hex nowhere did the voices lessen at all. They were always present.
Okay, always present, yes, but I mean, there was no like reaction, there was no like change.
No.
It's just like kind of like a constant whispering. Okay,
No. Yeah.
gotcha.
Actually, let me check one thing just to be clarify here. I will say this meta-wise that outside that, like basically when you were in hex 1206, which is like further back along the road to Castle Brackenwold. All right, I don't know if you see that, but it's like the hex to the southeast.
Yep.
When you entered into 1106, the hex with Prigwort, is sort of when you started hearing those voices. Now, like I said, like the world isn't divvied up into hexes, obviously in real life, so it was much more of like a gradual thing. But it's sort of like you can kind of confirm that when you're in this hex is sort of when you're hearing it, and when you were in the next hex over, back along the road, the voices were not present.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Interesting.
Point that out. Okay, so yeah, you're going to bed down, and you get your new room out there. You get the continental breakfast in the morning, and then you guys can decide what to do, and we can start fresh with the next session. So next session, we'll do all the scheduling off camera here. So we'll end it here. So thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate all the great response that I had for the past couple videos. Thanks to Gavin Norman, the creator of both Old School Essentials and Dolmenwood, for giving me a little bit of a boost as far as viewership goes. And all praise to your great creation that we're all having a lot of fun with. So, that said, hopefully we'll see you with a select amount of people next week, and look forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.